Okay, let me just say, I think it would be helpful if you guys go sit in some of the seats that are open, if you don't mind, since there's some open seats, would be great. Okay, Josh, why don't you kick us off?
Secretary Granholm, thanks so much for doing this. EIA says domestically we're producing about 11 million barrels of oil a day on average. That's down from 12 million in 2019 pre-pandemic. Why hasn't domestic production returned in a way that would lower prices?
Yeah, this is a great question, a really great question. We have 250 fewer oil rigs that are functioning today than we did before the pandemic. And yet, the oil and gas industry has leases on 23 million acres of public lands on and offshore. Over 9,500 permits have been issued that are not being used. At the same time, the energy industry is making enormous profits. They're back up to above where they were before the pandemic started. So they have taken advantage of that moment, the profits, to be able to engage in shareholder buybacks, for example. But we want to encourage them to increase supply. We want supply to be increased both inside the United States and around the world so that we can reduce the pressures at the pump.
So just to check, you're saying that U.S. companies have not necessarily returned to production?
Have not returned to production. They have not. In fact, there are 150,000 fewer workers in oil and gas today. It was over 200,000 people who were working in the industry before the pandemic. They have not rehired people. They have not turned on the rigs. They have not taken advantage of the permits that they have on the land that they have.